Hello guys, I'm gonna be showing you class rankings according to me, no one else. This is what I've seen in classes in terms of PvE, PvP, and all that kind of stuff. Some of them are visually appealing, some aren't, some perform better, some don't, um, depending on the scenario, what you like and whatnot. So going from the top, Warrior, generally not so great in large scale, pretty much pretty good at dueling 1v1. Kind of mediocre in terms of grinding and making money. Um, if you like if you like a sword and a shield or a two-hand sword, there's the warrior. As you can see, defense and combos, very combo dependent. You basically charge at people, grab them, knock them to the floor, and then you do damage, and then you knock them again. Pretty much warrior in a nutshell. Next one, Hashashin. This is a pretty good assassin class. It mainly focuses on catching people on the sides in terms of PvP in large scale. It's pretty decent in 1v1s. The class is kind of okayish in terms of PvE. It's not really a PvE class, more of a PvP class. Its main features are sand and a giant glaive for its awakening weapon, and the sand dragon. Like I said, this classes catches really low HP classes on the side, like healers, witches, rangers, and anything that can pretty much die in one combo. It's really good at doing that. If it runs into a tank, it pretty much is useless against tanks. This is the golden boy of the game. The main character. If you think you're him, you're not. He is him. This one excels at PvE and in large scale PvP. 1v1, it's good against some classes, but it depends on who gets the grab out first. It does have a grab. Grabs in this game are pretty much you grab someone by the throat and you knock them to the floor and they can't do anything about it. If you like a overall roundish class, Sage is a pretty good one. Excels at kind of like a bit of everything, kind of a jack of all trades, but master of none. It's good at 1v1s, large scale, and grinding. Uh, you have the main weapon, which is a little ball, um, as you can see in the trailer here, and you're mostly doing arcane magic for the most part. The Awakening, you just turn into Zeus and you throw lightning bolts and lightning everywhere, and that's about the theme for this one. We got the Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Well, the lore in here is that he's a descendant of the Monkey King. He's not the Monkey King himself. This one is an Ascension class. Basically, this one has access to both of his skill sets at the same time. You do not have to pick and choose between them. He does have an extending pole, and he does have a giant fucking totem that he drops on your head. The class is pretty decent at 1v1s. It does have a grab as well. Um, I don't know much about it in PvE. I haven't seen it very much in PvE, but I'm guessing it's okayish in terms of PvE. Very combo reliant. You have to kind of get the combo right, otherwise you're kind of uh, screwed in terms of PvP. In terms of PvE, it doesn't really matter that much. You're just gonna do slightly less damage in PvE. Doesn't really matter in PvE. Here we have the class that everyone hates during large-scale PvP, Node or Siege. The Ranger, this is an absolute unit of a class. If it catches you from a high ground and your back is turned to it, you're pretty much dead because this is a machine gun in terms of disguised as a bow user. The succession is a bow, really good for large scale PvP. Um, if this class manages to take high ground and you try to get close to that high ground without having a way to get to her, you are pretty much dead. This class will destroy you if you try to get near it before you even get near it. In terms of awakening, it's a rogue type class, really good in small 1v1s and 3v3, 3 versus 3 fights. Um, it's a great duelist in awakening. Um, it kind of sucks in large scale for awakening. You can become like slight of an assassin type, but you do not really have that many escapes as an awakening. Or as a succession, this class is pretty much a glass cannon, as you would call it. It does very high amounts of damage and is very low on survivability. There are some people who are extremely good with it, but generally not even them can survive. I've talked with a few of them, and they said that if something gets near you, you're pretty much dead. This is one of the classes I main as well. Um, in terms of PvE, you definitely will want to play Awakening. You will have more flexibility and more opportunities to get behind the enemies, unlike Succession, where you kind of get pushed back because of most of your skills that you do. Overall, fun class to play. Guardian. This class is pretty good in Succession in main hand. It's a tank class in main hand. It survives pretty well as long as it has the shield up. If you catch it from the back or you grab it and you put it on the ground, it's kind of dead. It does have a grab as well. Um, the AoEs are mediocre, medium range AoEs. The damage is not really there in Succession. Um, it gets outranged by pretty much everyone in terms of distance. It's a very melee focus class in main hand. On Awakening, um, you get a giant axe, which you pretty much just call out lava from everywhere with every fucking skill that you do. You will rain lava on your enemies, giant AoEs, giant survivability in terms of PvE and PvP sometimes, depending on how many people are trying to bash your head in. Um, Overall, this is a pretty good class. A lot of people like it. I don't know why, but I'm guessing you guys will let me know. And we have the explorer over here, the scholar. This lady excels at annoying you in terms of large-scale PvP, mainly for the fact that she can jump into high places and show up from your back whenever you have no fucking idea that she was there, right? If you're not paying attention to the minimap in large scale, she will come from nowhere and shove one of these hammers up your posterior, right? And she also has a giant hammer along with these two. It's an ascension class, so it has access to both these two hammers and the giant one at the same time. Um, Overall, it's a pretty decent class. It's one of the classes that is kind of a tank destroyer due to the fact that whenever it hits something, it reduces the armor way more than other classes. Um, it's also one of the classes that can jump from extremely high places and not die, unlike a lot of other classes. Overall, it's a pretty medium, pretty fun class to play. The effects are really cool if you like in terms of dwarfs and earth and stuff like that. She's not really a dwarf, but her skills and her skill set does hint to a mountain type people um, skill set. Drakania. So this used to be one of the best PvPers in the game. Um, a few years ago, it got nerfed and then got buffed and nerfed and buffed, and I honestly have no idea what state this is in. I haven't seen many Drakania lately in terms of node war or grinding. Some people consider her still extraordinarily broken, and the majority don't. They think that she's in a great place right now and she's not broken. Um, Your weapon choices are pretty much either a giant sword or a lancet, a spear with a giant dragon head for your awakening, or a giant sword, two-handed sword for your main hand. Uh, Effect types are generally lightning and fire. Pretty cool effects. Uh, One of your main awakening skills is that you get to dash very far away, depending on how much stamina you have. Um, Another one is you pull out the giant dragon head and you spit roast your enemies in front of you in a cone. Um, it does not have a grab, but technically it's supposed to be a very high DPS class, glass cannon-ish, with a lot of super armors. I don't know if it still has super armors in terms of PvP. In terms of PvE, it doesn't really matter. And now we go to the annoying one, the Sorceress. This class is really annoying to fight against in terms of PvP. Her main hand is a talisman that goes on her arm, which you can see here, and her awakening is a giant scythe. If you like scythes and Grim Reaper themed stuff, this might be the class for you. Overall, she's pretty good at PvP and PvE. Her succession is one of the best at the moment in terms of PvE. Her awakening is really good in terms of PvP and catching people in offsite. Pretty good at dueling and pretty decent at large scale as well. Does not have a grab. Um, I've seen fights between two of these classes fighting each other, and they've lasted about 2 hours, which is crazy that some people could just fight for that long with the same class. Nova. This is one of the best tanks when you play the main hand, which is a shield and mace. Your main team will be ice on main hand, and you will summon a lot of demons to fight for you that will stun, mangle, and spit on your enemies. Overall, one of the tankiest classes. I went full blast against one of these that went full tank. I was unable to break the frontal guard alone. Um, I did about 45% of its frontal guard, but this was end game players. Overall, this is like one of the best tank classes and front lines in terms of PvP and large scales. It does pretty good in PvE as well. Pretty fun to play in PvE. Its awakening is sort of a musketeer type class. You get I forgot what the weapons are called for musketeers, but you get one of those. Um, Technically, it kind of like has effects where it turns the weapon into like sort of a sight thingy. It's a fast dasher, like a musketeer. It like tries to poke you from all directions without you being able to keep up. Um, and that's kind of it. In succession, in main hand, it does have a grab. In awakening, it does not have a grab. Overall, you can do pretty good with this in both PvE and PvP. Next, we have the Daughter of the Sea, the Corsair. This class will get you in a lot of PvP guilds, since a lot of PvP guilds want this class mainly for the healing that it provides. Its main hand is mainly a Buccaneer type class where you turn into um, a mermaid and you use your sword a lot of melee combat and mixed with magic. Uh, your main, your skills on both main and awakening are gonna be water based. Your awakening does get a gun that you shoot at your enemies with, plus you get some pets that will come dressed as pirates and shoot cannons and stuff like that for you and help you deal with your enemies. Overall, pretty fun class to play. If you like water type classes, this one's you definitely will enjoy this one. Um, if you like riding on ships and going to the ocean, this one will provide you a bonus 1% movement speed to your ship. Overall, pretty fun class to play. Uh, Definitely fun for people who like ocean and watery stuff. Next we have the Lahn, one of the better duelists and assassins in the game. The thing with this class is it's one of those classes that can fly. Literally, it gets off the ground and flies, and it can get behind enemy lines and jump to high places and kind of ignore obstacles that would normally block other players. Her main hand is the ribbon, and her offhand is the dual something blade. Um, this class excels in both PvE and PvP. Uh, at the moment, I think the main spec for this class is centered around PvE and the awakening towards PvP. I do know that the awakening has a grab and the main hand does not have a grab about this class. Um, Examples of using the flight on this class: if your enemies are all trying to hold the choke point, you can literally fly over them and land in their backline where their vulnerable targets are with low HP, and you can assassinate about 5, 6, 7 of them, depending how lucky you are and how bad the enemy's observation skills are of noticing you. Overall, good class, PvE and PvP. Next, we have the class of choice for a lot of streamers, the Berzerker. This class in main hand, you turn into a beast. So there would be no point in you having an outfit because you will never see that outfit. You will be you'll be in your metamorphed form of the beast most of the time, so you will never see your outfit. Other than that, this class has the highest HP in the game and the highest defenses. It's a Berserker type class. In main hand, you turn into the beast, you spin around, you grab people, and you cause a lot of commotion in the back line or in the front line. Your main objective is to be disruptive in terms of node war. It's pretty decent class in terms of 1v1, but if you run into a brawler type class, you will lose against them with this class. Other than that, you're pretty tanky. You do some decent damage. If you fail your combo, you will not kill anyone. In terms of PvE, this class is pretty good. Pretty easy to play on main. Then we have the Awakening, which basically you get a cannon and you start to blow stuff up. You shoot your cannon at everything, and your cannon is your main source of damage. Your 100% rage skill will be a mini nuclear launch detected in front of you. Uh, Pretty useless, pretty bad. You definitely never want to use it. Um, Other than it looking cool as fuck. Other than that, you really don't want to use it for anything else. The Awakening is pretty decent at PvE, or decent to mediocre at PvE. Pretty good at PvP and shooting enemies with the Ranger from high places with the cannon. In Awakening, you do have a grab, but it requires you to swap back to your main and use some of your main skills as well in terms of Awakening. Overall, pretty good class. Then we have another assassin type class, Maegu. This class is a glass cannon, high damage output, and very little survivability. In your main hand, you are pretty much a magi, a petal magi that does throws petals and talismans and stuff at your enemies to do damage. You also get a fox with this class, a pet that will consist of your ultimate and occasionally show up randomly to just play. AoEs in main are very big. You have one giant AoE, big damage as well. In terms of survivability, you heal pretty well with it. The class is pretty good in main for PvE. For PvP, though, you would want to go Awakening, as you have the ability to dash behind your enemies, and you are the type that will generally pick off the targets on the sides, or fight in 1v1s. Your weaknesses are tanks. You do not want to fight tanks with this class. You will get destroyed by a tank. Your main targets generally are squishies, as you can one-shot them if you catch them off in the float them in the air damage. Um, Air damage type is your bread and butter. Once you knock the enemies off the ground, you will spin through them and pretty much they're dead. It's a combo of like 4 to 5 skills that one-shots pretty much anyone that's a squishy. Tamer. This class in main is pretty good at grinding and killing monsters. Um, but for PV, this class is kind of mediocre. Not gonna lie to you guys, it's really mediocre, really weak in terms of PvE. But really fun to play though, and you can do some fun stuff with it. In terms of awakening, you are a tank buster. You can kill pretty much any tank on your own. You do have a grab. You have one of the highest damage outputs on single target in the game with this class, and you are one of the few tank busters in the game. You can kill Berzerkers, you can kill Novas, you can kill Warriors, you can kill pretty much anything that considers itself a tank. Your weaknesses generally will be large scale PvP if you do not have enough training with this class, and medium scale uh, PvP. You are pretty good at 1v1s, depending on what type of enemy you encounter. Generally, you are weak against assassins. And you also get a dog made of ink that you can also ride. And that's kind of it for this class. Overall, pretty good class. Uh, then the class that everyone wants in their party, but everyone hates. Um, this class is the terrorist class. She's called terrorist. Basically, this is the buff class. She provides attack speed, HP, rage regeneration, and healing for her entire party or platoon. Playing this class will get you invited to pretty much every party spot in the game or every guild. This class is very sought after by pretty much every guild and every party due to the fact of her buffs. Your damage in terms of PvE and PvP is garbage. You are pretty much support class. You do not output a lot of damage. However, if the gear difference is big enough, you will one-shot a lot of people that are not close to your gear score. In terms of fighting people who are close to your gear score, you will get destroyed. Um, well, I should say you will not die to anything other than tank killers like Tamer. This class generally goes full um, damage reduction or full evasion. It's a class that's very annoying. You generally do not want to even bother trying to kill this class unless you are with a bunch of tank bursters to kill it fast. Because by the time you try to kill it alone, its team it's generally around and it's gonna show up. This class never walks alone in the world. You never see these alone in grand spots and stuff. Generally, they have guardian, someone guarding them, and stuff like that. Most of the time, terrorist class. Moving on, striker. Now, you probably heard of this one. This is one of the biggest tanks in the game at the moment. One of the best. I go in alone and you can't kill me type classes if played right. Overall, very dependent on your ping. If your ping is very bad, you are not going to be able to survive going in and pissing off everyone and making them chase you. Very tanky class, very high survivability, um, very medium in terms of PvE. Very tanky and very high survivability in terms of PvP, 1v1, large scale, 3v3. Overall in PvP, really good choice of class if you like tanks. It has grabs, it has clones, it has dragging you on the floor, eating dirt grabs. Musa. This is a class that your main job will be to pick off people that are trying to run behind you or trying to sit on the side and do damage. You are a brawler. You are mainly looking for the squishies, trying to do damage from high places and such. You have a very fast dash that allows you to get near your enemies. You are protected through the entire dash. Every time you dash, you are super armored, so you cannot be knocked down or anything like that. You can get close to your enemies really fast. You do not have a grab instead, but you do have some knockdowns and stuns and stiffens and bounds. Pretty good class if you like fire teams. Um, it is very good at PV as well. One of the better ones. It's a medium to high type PV class in Awakening. In main, it's pretty much a single target damage dealer. Pretty good overall. One of the classes that's played a lot more than general. Maehwa. This class got nuked into the ground. No one plays it anymore. There's like 3-4 Maehwas that play this. 3-4 players that play this anymore. Basically, it's the counterpart with the Musa. You have the same thing. You dash within super armor. Um, the reason this class is considered dead is because of the low damage output, the low CC output, and overall its weakness. Her team is Ice. For PV, none of what I just mentioned matters. You can play this class if you like Ice and you want to do PvE. You should be fine. Your body per hour will not suffer very much if you play this class for PvE. Uh, then we have the Mystic. This is the female counterpart of the Striker. This class is, if the Striker is more of a I hit you with my fist, this is more of a Chun-Li I hit you with my feet type class. Her main team is Water, and she gets a giant Water Dragon as her awakening. Her main is based on a lot of fisting and kicking. Overall, her awakening is pretty good in PvE and in PvP. Her main is mainly good in PvP, kind of sucks in PvE. Overall, pretty fun class to play. I've played this one, pretty fun. Valkyrie, you are one of the, if not the most tankiest classes in the game if someone tries to hit you from the front. You are an absolute menace in terms of large scale damage, large scale crowd controlling, and annoying people. In terms of grinding, this class is kind of horrible in both main and awakening. I would not recommend you grinding end game spots with this class. Really, really not for grinding, more of a PvP tank class. And only for awakening. Your main is gonna get you killed. You do no damage with main. Main is designed to be sort of a paladinic type of class where the more you hit enemies, the more you heal the allies around you, but most of the time you're just gonna die and not heal anyone if you play main. With your awakening, you have a giant suction where you suck everyone in a radius and then you jump on their heads and generally you'll get 3, 4 to 5 kills depending on what you if you catch only tanks, you're not gonna get squat. If you catch squishies, you will get a large kill feed with this one. Overall, pretty fun class to play in terms of PvP. Kunoichi, this is the female ninja. This one is pretty fun to play. Um, for Awakening, you have a giant chakram, which is basically like a giant round thingy that's very sharp. Overall, very fun. You have Shift LMB button, which makes you spin around and heal a lot and do a lot of damage to everything around you. Um, but again, it's an assassin class. You cannot uh, jump in the middle of the fight and start trying to kill everyone. You will have to pick off your targets from the sides. Um, in terms of PV, you do pretty decent, medium to high. The main is a bit more complicated to play. It's very finger twistery in terms of combos. If you fail one of your combos, you probably will not kill anyone or any monsters. The ninja. In Awakening, you have extremely high damage output and extremely high CC. Uh, Overall, you are pretty much the definition of a glass cannon. You can pretty much kill anyone, but if you're caught, you are pretty much dead. One mistake, dead type of class. You can kill people in super armor on their feet with this class due to the high damage output and combo. This being said, you will have to learn to do the combo properly with animation cancels and all of that thing, all of those. In terms of PV, you will not need this. You can do just okay and fine without the animation cancels and stuff like that. Overall, high DPS class. I've tried it a few times. It wasn't for me. Dark Knight. This is the one that like everyone goons on, just because of the outfits that she generally has and the thighs. Um, your awakening, you drop down a bunch of arcane swords. Uh, your team is arcane with purple, and your main is assassin type, where you have a two-handed sword which allows you to teleport behind your enemies and knock them flat on their asses and then kill them if they do not know how to play against you. Overall class is pretty glass cannony. Your defenses are pretty much non-existent. Your um, in terms of PvE, it doesn't matter which one of these you play. You're gonna make pretty much the same money with them. In terms of PvP, you might want to go main, um, just for the simple fact that you do have more survivability on main due to the dashes and the iframes. On Awakening, you do not have as many survivabilities, but you do have range, and you have a lot more dashes. Um, Depends on you. For PV, you can play whichever you want. They're both, like I said, they're both gonna do pretty much the same way. Wizard. This is a hybrid type class, which is supposed to be DPS and support at the same time. Your Awakening is a mediocre, medium range class. You have a grab. Uh, if you are going to try to fight someone 1v1, you other than a Shai um, and a few other classes, you are pretty much not beating anyone with this class in 1v1. This is a large scale PvP class. Your place and positioning will generally be next to where the ranger is sitting on high grounds. You have long range attacks for your main. Your awakening, like I said, is mediocre range, medium range, and you are pretty much useless with awakening in terms of PvP. Your main hand is your succession. This is your bread and butter. This is what you're going to be grinding in, and this is what you're going to be PvPing in for this class. Your awakening is pointless to even bother with, as I've heard from pretty much a lot of wizards that I've talked with. It's very flashy, very fun to play. You can play it in PV if you want to. Very not combo dependent, very easy on the fingers. Uh, Unlike your main, which is going to destroy your fingers like Ninja. If you want to completely optimize it and get as much money as you can, this is one of the best grinders in the game in terms of PvE and making money due to the fact that it's a burst damage class. It pumps out a lot of damage in a very short time. Very glass cannony, but not so much due to the fact that you have 3 heals and you also have something called the protected area, which makes you kind of invincible for 8 to 10 seconds. Overall, if you like flashy skills and big AoEs, a wizard might be the way. Now we have the archer. This is a success. This is an ascension class. You have a crossbow and a longbow. You are pretty much the sniper of the game. You are going to shoot and kill people off screen that where they can't even see you. In terms of survivability, you have some if you're really good at the class. Other than that, you're a glass cannon. Um, Class does decently in PvE. It doesn't really do as great as others. It's a medium class in PvE. Pretty decent in PvP as well. Next, we have the Woosa. This class is based on you're basically Storm Magi, which controls storm and weather and stuff like that with talismans. You are centered around purple butterflies and that kind of stuff. Uh, in main, you are very tanky, one of the more tankier brawlers in the game, but also one of the weaker damages in the game. So mediocre damage, mediocre survivability. Um, that's about it for the main of this one. There's not much to tell about it. It's pretty straightforward. The Awakening, on the other hand, you become Lotus Magi. Your main team is around Lotus Flowers and long range DPS. You are not a sniper type, but you do hit from very decent range. Most of your skills. You have a few defensive ones for if someone gets close to you. Um, that's kind of it for this one. Pretty decent in terms of grinding, PvE. Kind of mediocre in terms of PvP. Overall, mediocre class. Pretty fun if you like butterflies or storms or lotus flowers. Definitely worth playing if you like those types of things. And giant fans. She has on her main the skill where she does pull out that giant fan and like sweeps in front of her. Pretty cool. Next, the counterpart to the wizard is the witch. This class is like the wizard on main. This is gonna be your bread and butter for pretty much everything. But on awakening, the witch is pretty good at PvP. Small scales, you just have to be very careful so that none grabs you. In awakening, you're pretty much super armored or frontal guarded. You just gotta make sure you are rotating them according to the situation you are in for PvP. This is also one of the more chilling classes that you can play for PvE. Very low key input, very easy on the keyboard, very easy on the fingers. On Awakening. On main, you're pretty much a pianist when it comes to casting skills. The difference between this one, the witch, and the wizard in terms of main skills is that the witch can precast her skills and teleport away and then release the skill after she teleports, right? And the wizard does not have this. Oh, the witch also has something called the multiple magic arrow, which allows you to combine it with the previous element that you've cast. So if you cast a fire skill and you cast multiple magic arrow, the multiple magic arrow turns into a fiery skill, which increases its AoE output and hitting more targets. And it has lightning, earth, and ice as well. Depending on which one you use, you'll have different benefits from them. The wizard does not have MMA. I mean, it has the skill, but it can't elementize it. Instead, the wizard, every time he casts a skill from the same skill, from the same element, it will reduce the cooldown of all of the skills of that element by 0.5, I think it was, or something like that, right? So let's say you cast Meteor having a 30-second cooldown, and then you cast other fire skills, you're reducing the cooldown of Meteor by a lot. And that is how Wizard works. Seraphim. This is pretty much your Paladin class. A lot of people do not play this in the demon form. Everyone pretty much plays it in the angel form due to the high mobility and high combo. Mobility. The angel form is speed. The demon form is brute force and a lot of healing. and survivability, pretty tanky. But unless you are grinding a tower spot, there is no reason for you to play the demon form. And in terms of PvE, in terms of PvP, you are going to get shafted. If you are a demon, you want to play the angel form due to the high survivability and high escape rate that you have with this class. You have protected dashes, and you have all types of I'll hit you with my big sword and there's nothing you can do about it type situation if you learn how to play this class. The combo is pretty easy on her to learn, so it's up to you whether you're gonna play the demon form or the seraphim form. Dosa. So in your main hand, you are pretty much using a really long Dao sword, which is combined with smoke effects. You do get a lot of smoke. Think of One Piece and that general from the Navy that pretty much smokes every time. Except this guy doesn't smoke, he just has smoke effects. Um, a very high damage output on single target. Class is pretty decent for dueling. You are capable of deflecting and reflecting the damage back to enemies when it comes to PvE and PvP, and not suffer the consequences of that damage. Um, in Awakening, you become a Taoist. You pull on an elemental wheel for damage. You have earth, metal, fire, water, and nature. And if you cast one of them, the next one that you cast should be. So you have two types of each of these elemental schools. You have the big one and you have the small one, right? Generally, if you cast fire and then you cast the small nature, you will create a combo which will do more damage. And you have all kinds of these types of combos. The guides can generally guide you on what the combo would be for this in Awakening. Pretty decent class in terms of PvP as well, depending on what you're fighting. Obviously, if you are fighting a tank class, you are going to have a very bad time. If you are fighting a class like a witch or a wizard or a Shai or one of the weaker classes, you are going to have a very fun time. Deadeye. This class is a menace in terms of 1v1s, large scale, medium scale. She does pretty decent in grind in killing monsters as well. Again, it's an ascension class. Your main weapon is gonna be dual pistol, dual revolvers, and your occasional weapon is gonna be the little devil, which is the R RPG. You generally shoot rockets from far away. Sniper type weapon. You cannot shoot it very often. You have very limited skills in terms of the rocket launcher, but they are pretty good. They feel very satisfying to use and they're pretty fun. Overall class pretty fun. Definitely worth giving a try. Now we have the brother of the Deadeye, the agent. This is the newest kid on the block. Overall, I personally did not enjoy it. I have seen a lot of people that enjoy this class. Depends on if it's your type of style. I can't really tell you much about it since at the moment it does not have an awakening. I've heard that it's not very good in PvP. The moment people are using it to do puzzles due to the fact that it has a 15-second cooldown that allows you to teleport any in a position you want within a set range limit. But yeah, this is kind of the tier class for all of these classes and what they do and how they play and their elemental skills. Hope this helps some of you. Bye bye.